I want to tell a story of how tarot and astrology sort of ended up in my life. Well, astrology has always sort of been under the surface. I've always been interested in, my sun sign and reading other people's sun signs, and never really delved into it until about 4 years ago. And of course, there's so much more than pop astrology and the sun signs. But with tarot, it wasn't really something that I was super drawn to. It sort of presented itself to me a few years ago, and it actually didn't even I didn't really choose to study tarot at first. I started studying astrology a little bit deeper. A friend of mine, who we weren't friends at the time, I didn't know her before that, but this is how we met, and she was running a metaphysical store in the perfect setting, this little basement. I mean, not perfect, but it flooded a lot, but it was this cute little speakeasy feeling basement in this tiny little southern town. And she was running a metaphysical store in there, and she had an astrologer come and begin to offer readings, workshops, little classes, and I started going, and the more I attended, the more I knew there was something there for me to go into. And I just started looking at my friends' charts and all of this, and I was like, okay, there's something here. There's really something here. And I was a little skeptical even still, because the conditioning around how it's bullshit is so strong, but people just really aren't, they aren't studying it at any sort of level that helps it make more sense than what is out there in the mainstream. So yeah, I was definitely a little skeptical at first, and then as I started looking at friends' charts, and I had somebody read my chart. Actually, this is a great story. So I totally got scammed on Instagram by somebody. I was in a really just tough place. I had moved back to my home state of Virginia from Colorado, and was working back at a farm that I had already worked for and living with the farmer. And it was really great for a couple of months, and then it was really not. And sometimes when you are a person that has my type of presence, it really pulls a truth and then pulls up the shadows to the surface in other people, and not everybody is ready for that, and everybody wants that in their space. So that tends to be a thing that I have noticed. Side note. Anyways, I was living with her, and it was about 45 minutes or so, from where the metaphysical store was. So I was very determined to go to these meetings, because I knew that they were helping me in the right direction. So I remember going to the metaphysical store and finding this oracle deck, Materia Medica herbal oracle deck, and I was so drawn to it. And I already worked with plants. I was a gardener and a farmer at the time, and had a bunch of my own plants and stuff at home. So I was very drawn to the plant deck. And at the time, I didn't know that this wasn't a tarot deck. I didn't really know anything about tarot. And my roommate at the time was like, "Isn't that an oracle deck?" And then kind of explained to me a little bit of the differences. And then I was back in that metaphysical store, and this woman was in there shopping, and I ended up talking to her for a solid hour, and she was going into the differences between tarot and oracle, and how some people are called to oracle decks, and some people are called to tarot decks, and some people are called to both, and how they're a little bit different. The running joke is that tarot is just going to give it to you straight. It's not going to coddle you. It's just going to be your life is burning to the ground, fucking deal with it. And an oracle reading is going to be a little bit more coddling. It's going to be a little bit more it's going to be more poetic. Let's just put it that way. So I didn't really know what any of this meant. I was just getting into studying it, and I started diving a little bit deeper, and I just started learning how to use the oracle deck. And there's that little descriptions of the cards in here, and I would just pull a card each day. The owner of the metaphysical store at the time had this deck also, and so it was kind of fun for us both to be working with this deck alongside each other. But yeah, this was my first ever deck. And it wasn't until probably a few months after that I was at a thrift store, and I found a tarot deck for $2, and it had all 78 cards in it, and so I bought it. And then I started to learn the tarot, and boy, are they different. So, obviously, both are different systems, and they both are channeling. They both are you giving messages and guidance through a tool. But tarot is a very orchestrated system. Now, people do read tarot differently, so there's not one set way of reading tarot. Sometimes people will read tarot reversed. If it's reversed, it has a different meaning. I don't do that. I have never felt called to do that. I just read the cards and read what comes out. So, do your own research and figure out which works for you if you want to become a reader. But this oracle deck found me, and I brought it home to the place where I was living, and I knew I just really needed to get out of this place. It was not good for me, and it was just like the energy in that space was just heavy. And I had started working at this little farm school at the same time where I was teaching like mindfulness and yoga and to kids. And the woman who ran the school was an energy worker, an energy healer. And she took me aside and kind of just, was like letting me know how to help clear my own energy at the time and how to sort of set an energetic boundary around myself when entering the home that I was living in, because its energy was so not good. So yeah, I was learning a little bit of this kind of stuff from her at the time as well. So I'm trying to find a specific card because it's relevant to the story. And I thought it was on top, but it's not. I am gonna just try and put this down for a second so I can look through here. There we go. Okay. So I buy the deck and I'm sitting at the farmhouse, and I am just like, my energy is so heavy. I'm like so weighted down. I can barely even freaking think. So I'm sitting there in bed and just like trying to connect. Okay, wait, sorry. Back to how I got scammed on Instagram. So this person reached out to me and offered to give me it kicked me off. I was trying to understand my intuition and how to follow different signs from the universe, and a lot of naivety for sure, but a lot of just like pure belief that there was something else, and I didn't care how I found out about this thing. I just knew that I had to like keep going, and then even sometimes when there's deceit involved, it just helps strengthen my discernment, right? So this person reached out and was talking to me for a while and just seemed very like legit. And I didn't know anything about how this stuff worked. I didn't know what a legitimate astrologer was. I just this stuff was so taboo. Nobody around me was talking about it. There just wasn't a lot of support. And so I ended up paying her like $300 for this reading, which somebody told me was insane. And now that I have become an astrologer, I'm like, it's actually not insane. Like, a lot of astrologers charge more than that, but they are astrologers who've been studying for many, many, many years. And I think even still $300 isn't that crazy for like a beginner astrologer to get to pretty quickly. But regardless, I asked the ladies at the metaphysical store one evening about it, and they were just like, they should never come to you. Like, number one rule, they should never be coming to you. You should be going to them. So, number one rule, if you wanted to get into spiritual things, into tarot, into astrology, whatever, and someone pops into your DMs and offers you a reading, no. Not how it works. Those are the people giving this industry a bad name. Those are the people making everyone else think that this shit is bullshit. But it's not. And there are people out there who are actually studying it, and then there are people, just like in every industry, who are just trying to take your money and cheat you. So use good discernment. But anyways, I got the reading done from her. The reading was accurate. Like, she gave me an actual reading. She just copied it from a website that I found later. But it was correct. And so she just plugged my information into one of those websites and then copy and pasted the reading to me. But over the course of several hours, she was like sending this to me. And it still changed my life. Like, getting the reading still changed my life. So, roundabout way of saying, don't get scammed, but also notice that every little thing is sort of leading you on the right path anyways. So I got the reading done. I shared it with a bunch of people close to me who were even more skeptical than I am about all of this stuff. And they were like, couldn't deny any of the stuff that it said about me. It was all very accurate. So I just had a good laugh and then decided to study it deeper. So after that happened, I was, beating myself up for being scammed, even though the reading really helped me a lot. It gave me the source for where she got it from, or he, I don't know who it was, but it gave me the source for where it was from. And I was able to use that as a source to learn a lot more about it. So in the process of trying to just lean deeper into my intuition, which was always my goal at the time, I was laying in bed just sort of like talking to whoever would listen out there. My guides, the spirits, whatever, my dead dad, I don't know, whoever it was. And it was just kind of speaking in a way of like, please give me something. Give me some sort of sign that this is correct and that I should keep walking in this direction. Because everyone around me was like, what the fuck is she doing? This girl's crazy. Like, you just need to go get a real job, and just like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, I know that this is correct, but I have not learned how to trust my own intuition yet for so many reasons that will be saved for another video. So I'm laying in bed and I'm just asking for this sign, and I feel all of this energy like right on the center of my forehead. It felt like it was just going like this. And I was like, oh, like I've done enough stuff to know the third eye, right? My center of like sight, third sight, deeper sight. So I feel this like energy just moving around in this space. And then I felt called to come to my deck. And I hadn't really used the Herbal Oracle deck much at this time, but I just started shuffling. And I was just holding that intention of like, give me some sort of sign that I know that this is real. For one, I could feel my dead dad, my dead grandma, two of my dead grandmas that all three had worked with in the jungle doing plant medicines. Again, another story for another video. But I could feel them all in the room with me, and it was insane. And of course, when I told my family and stuff, the other people, they didn't know what to say. They didn't have anything to say. They were like, please stop talking. So I feel this energy, and I shuffle the deck, and I'm like, give me some sort of sign that I can trust this stuff. And this is the card that flies out of the deck. I don't know if it will focus on this or not. Okay, well, this is the Juniper card, and it is the unseen and the power of mind. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I go and I open up the deck to the Juniper page. And I'm like reading about it, right? Okay, talks about how it's the primary ingredient in gin. Juniper berries valued for their stimulating properties. Let's see, protection and luck, tree of life in German folklore. Sprigs of juniper can be used for clearing energy. Smoke from the juniper tree is said to aid in divination and thin the veil between this world and the spirit world. Overall, juniper is very linked to the element of air. From its carminative action to its ritual use, it can teach us a lot about the power of the mind and spirit. View this card as an invitation into the unseen realm. View this card as an invitation into the unseen realm. Is there something hidden that you've been avoiding? Don't be afraid to dive deeper to seek the unknown. It can be scary, but it can also be incredibly illuminating. Y'all, I sat with that, and I was like, still skeptical. I'm like, I don't know about all this stuff. I shuffled the deck again, Juniper card came out. I shuffled it a third time, Juniper. After that, I just went full-fledged into studying tarot, astrology, oracle, all of it. And here I am a couple years later, and I offer readings. So yeah, that is a really fun story about how it plopped into my lap. And then there will be plenty of other stories about the journey from that time and before that time. But I want to leave you today with just remembering that each little thing that happens is like a little breadcrumb on your path, and you never know where it's going to take you. And if you can shut out everybody else's voices and go deep into yourself, it doesn't matter how much turmoil you're in, it doesn't matter which situation you're in, you can pull yourself out from that inward space. It helps if you find a community that can help support you in that. And I'm so grateful to have had that community for that time. And I just, if it seems like you made a wrong choice, it fucked everything up, I just challenge you to sit with it long enough to see if it's showing you something deeper that you haven't tapped into yet. So, with that, I leave you. View this card as an invitation into the unseen realms. Do your own research. Do your own research out in the outer. Do your own research in the inner. If you would like a tarot reading or an oracle reading or an astrology reading with me, you can book through my website, or you can reach out to me personally, and we will make it happen. Have a great day.